Man, you know you can't compete. We ain't stopping on the beat till we hottest in the streets. Better know.
And right now, a concern with Drew Brees on the bench.
I am concerned. This felt like it was something a bit more significant.
This team knows how to survive, and that's what it's all about.
Bridgewater takes a gun snap, quick throw, caught.
Touchdown! Huge score! Touchdown pass, 5-4-0 in the 5-0-4.
Touchdown New Orleans Saints. Freeze to Taysom Hill. He's back to pass. Oh, ball! Rue dropped it!
2 overtime.
Caught! Touchdown!
That's a full extension with the right arm by Kyle Rudolph.
And of course, this would come down to a review.
I'm sure the league will say something about it, or maybe they won't.
You tip your hats to Minnesota that they deserve to win.
Welcome back to beautiful Miami on this Friday Eve. You are looking at South Beach. It is gorgeous, sunny out here, getting you set for Super Bowl 54 at the Cleveland Earth. The party's already started. And joining us now is one of the best coaches in the NFL who really needs to catch a break when it comes to officiating. Let me say that. Sean Payton here with us. So good to see you on behalf of Zebra Technologies. Thank you so much for being here.
Man, I appreciate you guys having me on, and I just said this earlier, this beats Radio Row.
Right?
Seriously.
We're the fun set, right?
Fun set. You're the set.
Oh,
right here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Coach, so great to have you with us. I want to start with, we were hearing reports that it'll be Drew Brees this upcoming season, and then you might hand it over to Taysom Hill. What are the chances that Hill is the future under center in New Orleans?
But look, before even getting to who the future is, currently, I know speaking with Drew right before the Pro Bowl, he's going to take some time and decide on whether he's coming back or not. And we've always had great communication. It's not something where he's looking to leverage for more money or play with another team. It's really about his time, the commitment that it takes, the family, all of those things. And then once that decision takes place, we were in a good position. It's going to be hard for us to have all three of those guys back on the same roster. Yeah. All right, that's going to be very difficult.
Meaning Bridgewater as well.
Bridgewater, Taysom, and Drew. I think that's unrealistic. But all three of them are free agents. Taysom's an unrestricted free agent. So that means there's a little bit more of a built-in protection for us. Once Drew makes his decision, then we'll be better able to then look at both Teddy and Taysom. And man, haven't had a chance to coach both of those guys aside from our starter. Teddy went 5-0 for us. Mm-hmm. And Taysom, we've been playing on every position other than, so he meets in the special teams room, and he's unique. But look, we feel like that heir apparent potentially is in the building as well.
I love all three of those guys you just mentioned, so I have a quick question, and then I want to talk about Taysom Hill with you. If Drew Brees at his very best was a 10, how much is left in the tank right now? If his best is a 10, what is he right now against himself?
Well, look, the hardest thing for me to do, because I'm with him every day, is to see change. And I don't see it. Like I'm watching this guy perform, and again, his numbers this year exceeded last year's. The job is for him to win. And he's done that. Shoot, he's been a part of 71 wins in the last 3 seasons. I think the bigger question is, hey, is he? Because if he's back in, it'll be all in. So to give you a 1 through 10, I mean, I'm going by what I'm seeing.
Well, he's a 10 still to you.
Yeah, and he's a 10, but you would always take into account, hey, there's other factors that go into that. And so, look, is the ball going down the field the same way? Maybe it's not, and yet his yards per completion, all those things have been real good.
You mind if I follow up? Yeah. Taysom Hill. I've had arguments with NFL players now for years. Like, no, guys, even if you think he's a gadget player, you got to have a spot on your roster for this guy. Now, the great Sean Payton is saying he is starting quarterback caliber, not as a gadget guy, a fullback, this and that. He's a quarterback. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, look, we were fortunate enough. In our league, we have 1 cut now after training camp, not 2. And so everyone goes 90 to 53. Well, you take 90 to 53 times 32, a lot of players become free agents immediately, and there's a claiming order. And so if you want a player that's been cut from Green Bay, then you have to put a claim in for him, and you have to have a roster spot for him. We were claiming at 11. We were looking at another player and saw this Taysom Hill on film. And I was watching the tape, and I grabbed Ireland and said, what don't we like about this quarterback? And we ended up looking at every one of his snaps. and fortunately put a claim in and got him with the 11th claim. He came in, our vision with him as a quarterback, and we had 1 week where we were one over on the injured list. So we have 7 inactives. We were at 8. So we took Taysom to the game and played him in special teams, and all of a sudden, and it just kept, and the role kept growing.
He can throw, he can run. What can he do?
He can fly. When you say run, he can fly. And someone his size, that's unique. That's rare. It's a rare skill set. He plays F. And the other thing about he and Teddy both is, when you watch them play, watch the sideline and the bench and see the excitement. They're fantastic leaders and teammates. So his vision is that at quarterback. These are the things that we've had him do while Drew's been playing quarterback. So how do we get one of our better players on the field? And that's our job. And we played him at F.
I want to throw myself on the altar of your knowledge and your greatness as a coach while also being a little bit critical. And I ask you to educate me about this.
Come on.
Sean Payton has won 63% of his games. 131-77, I think that's the record since you've been there in 2006. Everywhere I turn, football aficionados talk about the importance of the quarterback position. I'm looking at a guy in Drew Brees that I think is a surefire first ballot future Hall of Famer. He's phenomenal, okay? And in all fairness, I think you're phenomenal as well. The flip side to that, however, is that you got the Super Bowl with Drew Brees in 2009. Since then, even though y'all have knocked on the door, you haven't been back. When you look at yourself as a coach, how do you feel about you and where you are and how much evolving may be necessary, particularly with life after Drew Brees coming up?
Yeah, that's going to happen. In other words, that transition. And to your point, winning one and being in it. And, you know, our first year in the program, we went to the NFC Championship game and lost. But in 09, winning it and having been a part of it, man, it occupies all your time and effort. Like it's addicting. And it's how we're all measured. So you can't explain to a player, hey, this is whatever you think this experience is like this week, times it by 100,000. And, man, we had a tough loss a few years back in Minnesota. Last year we had the key. They just didn't let us in the game.
Yeah.
No, we had the key, though. We didn't get in the game. And then this year we didn't play well enough. We didn't do a good enough job. But this recent stretch of 3 seasons, coming from the draft class of Kamara, Lattimore, Ryan Ramczyk, that really built us again sustainably for the future.
Because I've never had a chance to ask you this, you guys, let me just say, you guys have been victimized by bad officiating more than any team in my memory in any sport consistently in recent years. That said, we talked about the way you were complaining, particularly in the most egregious case, right? With the pass interference case. On the other hand,
what game? You talking about the
NFC Championship game.
That's the only one where, man, that was hard because
they missed it, and it was in front of everyone.
Yeah, but there's you have to ask, why'd you miss that? And that's why we're working on this all-star crew, because the officials that go to a game need to go as a group. I
get that, but my question is, on the other end of the field, the Rams were about to score, and the refs missed an obvious. I think it was a holding call on the other end. So I was like,
that was a overtime, hard-fought game. And, man, we got to find a way to get back in it. Ultimately, that's our jobs. And when you play in a single elimination tournament like that, you don't have a best of. And
you got burned twice. You did, back-to-back years. I just want to say one thing. You mentioned Alvin Kamara, and we talked about trying to pay everybody, the 3 quarterbacks potentially being free agents, and then obviously you had to pay out Michael Thomas. You mentioned Kamara. How do you want to handle his contract situation? Because he's up next.
Yeah, listen, it's not just Kamara. It's Ramczyk and Lattimore. And so that's a 4-day meeting with Mickey and I going through, look, Ryan Ramczyk is one of the better right tackles in the game. Kamara is a unique player at running back. Marshawn Lattimore, these are all these players that were part of that great draft class. And look, part of the challenge of what we're discussing is keeping it together and winning while they're together. We've been, listen, the sustainability is one of the challenges in our league, but we'll handle that.
All right.
We'll handle that.
Good stuff. Much more to come here from the Super Bowl.
Thank you, Coach.
Louis Riddick over there at the pick board. Louis, who you got?
Well, huh? Look at all these things. Come on now. You already know. You already know where I'm putting it. Right on my boy, the Ferrari. Right here. You know I'm going to pick that. I can't pick nothing else. Although, my boy's going to have a good game, though. He'll have a good game. But you know I'm going right here.